If you grew up with a sibling like I did, multiple, well, you know what it's like to be in each other's shadows. You want to outperform and outshine each other in every way possible. Even though you might be very similar, even twins, you look the same, you've got your own personalities. But don't worry, this video isn't talking about family relations. It's talking about something else. It's about these two cars here, the twins with different personalities. To my right is my personal BMW F82 M4, and to my left is its brother with two more doors, the BMW F80 M3. And if you've been looking to buy a BMW M car recently, like I was when I bought this car, well, you'd know that one is a two-door and one is a four-door. But the thing is, there's actually more differences than just that and the rear seat comfort and space. So in today's video, I'll be going over the similarities, the differences, the drive, and if I made a mistake when I bought this car instead of waiting and buying this car. Before I get into it, it's kind of ironic how this M3 is Austin yellow, which is what my M4 is under the wrap. So I should have unwrapped my car for this video and then just stuck it back on. It would have been absolutely perfect. But anyways, let's get into it. The main difference everyone notices, and I do too, is the difference in looks. Obviously, four-door, two-door. But let's get into the deeper aspects of it. Starting with the similarities, both the M4 and the M3 share the same hood bulge, the same bonnet. It looks amazing. It's from the E92 generation, and it just makes it look so aggressive. I absolutely love it, and both cars come with it. The next similarity with both these cars is that they've got a wider body than your regular 3 and 4 Series. So it makes it look more chunky and aggressive at the back and the front, mainly around that fender area. Obviously, same thing here on the M3. The front and the rear fender are a bit more poked out. And the last main similarity, which is another one of my favorites, is they both come with a 4-piped exhaust. And unlike some brands out there, these ones are real exhausts, all 4 of them. When you open the valves, all 4 are activated, and when they're closed, only 2 are activated. Now, amazingly, my car, I installed the M Performance exhaust, and so did the owner of this M3, the same thing, a full M Performance factory exhaust. Now, for those who don't know, from new, this was around a $10,000 option. So it's really unlikely the chances of this happening, but we've both got them on their cars. Now for the differences. Obviously the M4 is a coupe, but it's a lot more sleek in its design. It's a lot longer and less jagged. It's more of a smooth, coupey shape from all the way from the back, working its way to the front. So while that M4 screams performance, this M3, it's a little bit more sophisticated in the way it looks. It looks more like a regular sedan compared to a full-on sports car. The same question entered my mind when I made this video, so I'm sure you're thinking it also. Since this M3 has obviously 4 doors, 2 more than the M4, it must weigh quite a bit more then. The M4 actually has much longer, as you can see, and heavier doors than the M3 does. Even opening them, you can tell the weight is different, and obviously they open a lot longer because they're bigger doors. But when you compare that to the M3, they're actually a lot smaller in lengths, as you can see, a lot easier to open, and the same goes for the rear doors. A lot smaller, open a lot less wider, so it's easier to get out of the car in a car park especially, but they're smaller doors in comparison. Yes, it still doesn't make it a bit of a heavier car, but you're not going to really notice the difference because the difference is 23 kilos. Like that's, you binge eating for 6 months, you can put on 23 kilos. I just said that this M3 looks more sophisticated than my M4, but it still looks like a sports car. It doesn't look like your regular 330i. And the main difference, apart from the things already listed like the hood bulge, is well, these rear fenders. They are so wide, it looks like an aftermarket body kit that's been put on the car, but all of them come like that from factory. The best way to see it is looking from where the camera is now. You can see it literally pokes out about this much out from the car. The car ends here, but this just keeps going out. And looking down there, you can see how much wider it is than the front fender. It literally lines up with the end of the mirror. So it's a very wide looking car, and I absolutely love it. I think it looks awesome. Like I said, it looks like an aftermarket body kit that someone's put on it, but they all come like that. Whereas the M4, yes, it's wide, it doesn't poke out like this, it's more built in. But this makes it look like it's just so aggressive, and I just love it. I wish the M4s had something that looked like this. Now that we've gone over the main visual differences, let's go over the hearts of these beasts and see how they compare. And the main similarity of these cars is, well, what's under the bonnet of each. They've both got the BMW S55, which is a 3-litre, twin turbocharged inline 6-cylinder. Now, these are both just your regular base, nothing special M4 and M3, so they both make 425 horsepower and 550 Newton meters of torque. If you want to go the next step, you can get the M3 and the M4 competition, which makes 444 horsepower. And if you want that next step, you can get the M3 and the M4 CS, which makes 460 horsepower. But as we know, doing a stage 1 tune on one of these cars will get you over 460 horsepower, and you don't have to spend $130,000 for an M4 CS. Like I mentioned, they've both got M Performance exhausts. Now, this one is tuned with intakes, so let's see if it makes any difference in the actual sound. This M3 is bone stock apart from the M Performance exhaust, so let's get a start up and a few revs with this one also. Valves open and close. Both of these cars share the same transmission. There are two options from new. One, which is the most common, is this 7-speed DCT M gearbox. And let me just add, it is an incredible transmission. It is so fast and aggressive. I absolutely love it. Or if you wanted to have a little bit more fun, you could option a 6-speed manual, which was not common at all, especially in Australia. For reference, right now, there's over 180 F82 and F80 M3 and M4s, but only 3 of them are manual. And those 3 are all M4s. There's not one M3 on the market that is a 6-speed manual in Australia. Now that we're in this boat of a car weighing 23 whole more kilos than the M4, it doesn't make any difference to the performance. They both run a 0 to 60 with the automatic transmission in 4 seconds flat. Both make the same power, both have the same power delivery. And the interesting thing with this car and that car and any car with this motor is with about $5,000 of mods, you can make 550 horsepower and around 700 Newton meters of torque. But a little word of advice, be very careful, as these cars are known for their crank hub failure. Now that only really happens when you tune the car and you don't shift properly. So on stage 1 tune or regular driving, and as long as you're doing proper shifting and not just slamming the transmission all the way to the lowest gear, you should be fine. But if that goes wrong, well, it can cost you a whole motor. I've heard that happen before. It literally will destroy your whole motor. Because they are both M cars, they also come fully loaded with many things which non-M cars don't get, like the full adaptive suspension, limited slip differentials, meaning you can do good drifts, and also those massive brakes which bring the car to a stop incredibly fast. The most exciting part, comparing them both behind the wheel. Before we hit the road in both these cars, we have to compare the practicality inside the car. And when I think of practicality, I think of 3 things. The first one is the driving position for the driver, most importantly, that's where you'll be sitting. The second thing is the boot space, how practical is it? Can you fit a lot of stuff in there? And thirdly, the rear seat space. How much space do those 3rd and 4th passenger get when they're in your car? Not to flex, but I'm personally 6'1", and well, in the M4, as a driver, for me, perfect driving position, great height, great lean. I can feel the wheel perfectly. I don't feel hunched or too lean back. It's got everything you need. And getting into the M3, well, it feels pretty much the same. Obviously, the further I go back, less space for the people in the back. Same thing in the M4, but it feels the same. I feel comfortable. I can get myself comfortable. I don't feel cramped at all. Next, with the BMW M4's boot space, well, for me, it's got plenty. I've never had struggles with space in here. You can fit anything you need, really. I've fit TVs, mini fridges, camera equipment, everything I've ever needed to, it's fit perfectly in here. And even shopping, you can fit like 6 bags of shopping in here. So, pretty practical for a coupe. And if you're a numbers guy, the space in this boot is 445 litres. Coming over to the M3, well, boot space, to me, it looks the same. I mean, the space, it's very, very similar. You can fit the same amount in this one as the other one. Even though this one technically is a little bit larger at 480 litres. But trust me, it's not going to make that much difference in your day-to-day life. And now the third point where the main difference will be seen, the rear seat space. So when I hop into the back of this M3, I've got leg room, I've got headroom. I'd honestly sit in here for a few hours and not complain. It's not like I'm cramped at all, especially if these people move a bit forward, it's perfectly fine. I think you could fit 4 adult people in this car and have no issues at all. I've done this before on this channel, but I'll do it again once more for you guys. Getting into the back seat of my M4. Now I'm gonna leave the driver's seat in the position I drive in, and we'll see what the people behind me will feel like. So I'm not gonna move it forward at all. It's gonna be a bit hard to get in. Oh God. Oh, there we go, I'm in the back. It actually slopes down a lot more back here. The rear seats are really sloped compared to the other one, it's more upright. Oh, ooh, if you heard that, that was my knees. Jesus. I don't know why it's so rough. So here I am in the back, my head is hitting the roof, my knees are hitting the seat. As a full-size adult, it's not comfortable at all. Give it maybe half an hour to start complaining. Maybe if you have like 5-year-old kids, different story, but yeah, four adults aren't gonna have a good time in this car. This is meant to be the driving segment, but it's not. It's me sitting in my room. And the little problem I have here is, well, this GoPro that filmed 20 minutes of driving footage in those two cars, well, it lost all the footage. It corrupted, and the only way to fix it was to format the SD card, which deletes all the footage. So I don't have any driving footage, and I don't have access to the M3 anymore, so I can't refilm it. So I'm sorry there's no driving clips in this video. It really hurts me. I had a lot of driving footage, which is now just lost because I recorded it on the GoPro instead of my regular camera. Anyways, just to make it simple, the M4 is a lot more direct. If you point it in a turn, the whole car's going that way. It's like it's on rails. Whereas the M3, it feels like the back was lagging behind. So you'd point the car, you'd turn it hard, and the rear end felt like it was just trying to keep up. It wasn't oversteer or understeer, I'd say. Just didn't feel as direct and as planted to the ground as the M4, sorry. But when I say not planted to the ground, I don't mean losing traction, because that's another thing. It might be the suspension, because my M4 does have lowered suspension, but my M4, even stock, before it had any work done to it, it was spinning through first, second, and third gear. Even on a drag strip, it was spinning through them. Whereas this M3 wouldn't spin at all. Even if traction fully off, from 15 kilometers an hour in first gear, it would spin for about a second and then kick back in and just not be spinning anymore. I don't get it. Same as the M4. You go on a turn, you accelerate, that back end is out straight away. Just a little tap on the accelerator. Whereas the M3, you'd really have to try to drift it to get it out. Now, it's still obviously a fun car and a rowdy car, but my M4, it just feels so much more crazy to drive and control than the M3. I don't know, that's my personal experience. The M4 is a lot more fun to drive, but the M3, it's still, obviously, same motor, same everything. It's still an amazing car. So, drive-wise, I'd definitely give it to the M4. To own either of these cars, you have to pay the price. So what's the difference in pricing? Brand new, when this car came out, it was $156,000 and some change, plus your on-road costs and all the taxes and fees. Whereas the M4, when brand new, cost $166,000 and some change, plus taxes and fees. So $10,000 more than the M3 when brand new. Considering this car cost more when it was new, you'd assume that it holds its value better, right? Well, it's kind of ironic, as this M3, which cost $10,000 less when new, actually holds its value better than the M4, which costs more. My best guess is convenience and practicality, having 4 doors and 4 seats. More 40, 50-year-olds will be more interested, as they can fit their whole family going out for dinner or get their friends in the car. So on the used market, these ones actually fetch about $5,000 to $10,000 more dollars than the M4s with similar kilometers in age. Ending the video, this is my verdict on both of these cars. After spending significant time with both these cars, this one obviously owning it for months and this one driving it for the last few days, I must say the M4 is more for the driving enthusiast. It feels a little bit sharper and a little bit more exciting to drive in some form of a way. It feels a little bit more like a sports car. But on the same note, the M3 doesn't really lose any performance. It's still a high performance car, but you also get the practicality and comfort that comes with it. To tell you the truth, when I was originally looking to buy one of these cars, I was looking more for an M3 than an M4. I thought I'd use the 4 doors more often. The rear flares look amazing. And I thought it was a cooler car in general because it's a family sedan that can literally be a drift track monster if you want it to be. But in the end, as we know, I bought the M4. Just the opportunity presented itself and I couldn't say no. After owning this car for 9 months, do I regret my decision? No. I'm actually happy I bought the M4. The looks have really grown on me. I think it does look a bit more sporty and a little bit cooler overall, apart from the flares, of course. It does look a bit better, and the drive is a bit more enjoyable. Considering it is my weekender car and I only make videos with the car also, I don't use it every day. If it was a daily driver and I needed a practical car, maybe that's a better option. But in this car, I think I've had people in the rear seats twice in 9 months, so I don't really need 4 doors. So that's it for today's comparison, the M4 and the M3. Which one would you take? Which one do you prefer? And I always get comments saying one is better than the other or vice versa. It's an opinion thing. Let me know yours down below. Have a good New Year. This video is getting dropped on New Year's Eve, so make sure to party hard, but stay safe and responsible. And if you're getting on the drinks, maybe don't get into either one of these because that could end pretty badly. I appreciate you all for checking into another video of mine and making my dream come true, making videos on my favorite cars. Drop a subscribe, drop a like, turn on the notifications so you can see when I drop every Tuesday night here in Australia. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.